What it do, what it do, what it do, family. It is me, Coach 67 Sports TV. Shout out to the awesome and amazing LDBC, Lions Den boxing community. Shout out to the Louisiana All American Sports Network. Shout out to M Vision Photography and Video. And shout out to the greatest university in the world, the Southern University, home of the mighty Jaguars. And you already know what it is. I'm back in the build-down, you dig? So sit back, relax, buckle up, and get ready to enjoy the ride, you dig? Okay, we getting ready to pop it off. So let me take care of some background stuff real quick, and I'll be back at you in a minute, you dig? Okay, let's get it, let's get it, let's get it, let's get it. Let's see who in the build on. Motivation to be a millionaire, he says, salute coach 67, chat, and Jaguar Nation. Go Jags. Yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. Relax and calm, Randy says, salute coach, chat, and Jag Nation. Man, salute to the family. I also saw Autism Boy College 81. I don't know if he deleted his own messages or YouTube got him, because as of right now, I still been having issues with in terms of wrenching people up. But what I'm gonna do is when my brother Jared 11 Green hop on with me one of these live streams, I'm gonna let him walk me through the whole process, because I've been trying to do it, but it ain't been working out. But either way the cut go, man, I appreciate everybody that came through early, everybody that's gonna watch it on playback, everybody that's been rocking with me since day one. The last live stream from last week it's done 1K views, and I'm not even gonna lie, like the HBCU YouTube street's been hot. I just been kind of checking out all the different people in the space. Major shout out to all the HBCU football content creators in the space, like my brother C Wells, the SWAC Talk, Doc Holliday, HBCU Overdrive, Carlos Brown with the Jericho Broadcasting, HBCU network, Perry White, Scotty with All Script, PV versus Everybody, Lace Up Podcast, Locked on HBCU. I mean, just a lot of people just shaking and moving in the space, doing real good. So, it's good to see HBCU football and HBCU content thriving. So, shout out to everybody. She loves D, major shout out to her. And just everybody in the space shaking and moving and doing big things, you know what I'm saying? And if you didn't hear Friday on my brother's channel, Jared 11 Green, we have officially moved HBCU Fanatics from my channel to his channel. I think the next live stream is supposed to be Friday on his channel. I'll double check that. But, let's get it. I'm not going to waste no time because I plan on being here for a good time, but not for a long time, you dig? Because, school, the teacher's back in the building. The students don't come till Thursday, but I got to get my body clock right, so I could be ready when the kids hit the building on Thursday. So, let me kind of breeze through these couple topics that I'm going to touch on. First and foremost, shout out to Lace Up Podcast. I was checking him out earlier before I went to do my workout while I was in the store. And, right before I went to do my workout. And, he just was talking about Coach Terrence Graves. He was playing an interview that Coach Graves did. And I'm not going to lie, I don't think it was any technical issues on his end. I think it was just, that Coach Graves, at times his voice just doesn't project well, especially when you try to play it back, when you're sharing it on YouTube. And I'm not even going to lie, I'm going to keep it a buck. It was kind of difficult to hear him. But he just was talking about, Southern, and basically he just was ranking like the top 10 HBCU football teams. And I'm not even going to lie, he was talking about Southern. Man, salute to Johnny Thornton. What if was the fifth, we'd all be drunk tonight. See, you ain't even let me get to it, Johnny Thornton. But it is what it is. It's all love, you dig. But anyway, he was talking about, he was just basically playing what Coach Graves was saying. And in addition to that, he, was talking about Southern University's quarterback situation, and he was talking about like why Southern have these, they're having these quarterback battles, and they really don't stick with one guy the last couple of years. Well, first and foremost, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, there was a contingent of Jaguar Nation that was talking about Jalen Woods and ZT Set like 2 years ago when Harold Blood was starting quarterback. Like, I kid you not, one person told me behind the scenes. Of course, we got people in the chat that's been beating the drum, like Rock the Second. I mean, you got people that's been beating the drum and basically saying like, hey, Jalen Woods should be the guy. And another group saying that, hey, ZT Set should be the guy. And basically, I'm not going to lie, this one person told me behind the scenes, this was when Harold Blood was starting quarterback. He was like, man, this dude Harold Blood is trash. He said the dude Noah Barton is trash. And he didn't say trash, I'm not going to lie. He said another word, but I'm just kind of cleaning it up a little bit, you know what I'm saying? And he was like, man, I'm going to keep it real. If it was me, he said, I'll let them two true freshmen, running right now. And I'm like, dang, I mean, they both true freshmen. I don't know if they're ready for that yet. They were saying this a couple years ago. And in addition to that, of course, Harold Blood, he didn't work out, one of the worst Southern quarterbacks I've seen in my lifetime. Not the worst, but one of the worst. And then, moving on from him to Noah last year, Noah left a lot to be desired. And you're not just me being polite about the situation and being honest. You know what I'm saying? And, they kept going back and forth. Coach Graves kept going back and forth between Noah and Zay. I don't know why he didn't go with Jalen Woods earlier, but I think at the end of the day, truthfully speaking, I think after a certain point, it was obvious that Jalen Woods was the guy. He just never pulled the trigger on him. And not only that, I guess he was unaware that Jamar Jones had transferred. I mean, basically hit the portal. He's a graduate senior or whatever the case may be. I don't know if he's going to end up landing somewhere else or whatever the case may be. But even with that being said, he talked about, just Coach Graves, look at it, the depth of Southern, the quarterback situation, the running back situation. And of course, as usual, it always ended up being a back and forth between Southern fans and Jackson State fans. And basically, as a Southern fan, as I've been saying for the longest, like Jacobian Morgan does not move me whatsoever. And I'm gonna keep it a buck. One thing Lace Up Podcast was saying, and he's accurate from the standpoint of, I pointed it out first, but he kind of elaborated on it. Like SWAC quarterback play in 2025 leaves a lot to be desired. If you go back in the SWAC annals and you look at, we're just gonna kind of go, I ain't got time to go through the whole list, but we're just gonna kind of start with Grambling. Like, Grambling had Doug Williams, then I had Kendrick Nord, Bruce Eugene, Randy Himes, Devontae Kincaid. You look at Southern. Southern, I had Eric Randall, Sam George, Terrence Levy, Quincy Richard, Dre Joseph, Bryant Lee, Austin Howard. You look at maybe, I don't know, Alcorn State, they had Steve Air McNair. And in addition to that, then they had Don D.C. Carey. So from a Jackson State standpoint, everybody's saying, all the Jackson State fans saying, hey, Jacobian Morgan is the, preseason SWAC offensive player of the year. That don't mean nothing to me because last year was Miles Crawley, and we saw what happened with that situation. Grambling didn't do nothing. Miles Crawley didn't do nothing, in my humble opinion. And I know, like Grambling supporters and people that are proponents of Miles Crawley going to say, well, he got hurt. That's cool, but I'm just saying at the end of the day, like, he didn't like the world on fire either. And even Andrew Body, like, I was one of the people that was high on Andrew Body. And to keep it a buck, you got people like Christopher Dukes in the chat that's saying, hey, he think Andrew Body, and really done nothing, improved nothing in the SWAC. So at the end of the day, in 2025, like quarterback play in the SWAC does leave a lot to be desired. However, as a Southern fan, with the receiving core they had, Jacobian Morgan at quarterback, I ain't really scared. You know what I'm saying? I'm not moved by the quarterback situation and really by the vast majority of the teams in the SWAC when it comes to quarterback play. Now, I know some people in recent history, they talk about Shedeur Sanders. When I think about like great SWAC quarterbacks, I think from a talent standpoint, you could say he one of the better quarterbacks to come through the SWAC. But I don't think of him as a SWAC quarterback. Him and Dion, him and his dad, they just passed through the SWAC for a cup of coffee, and they kept it pushing. From a talent standpoint, he's up there, but I don't think of him as a great SWAC quarterback, in my personal opinion. And, if you took Jacobian Morgan and you replaced him with like Robert Superman Kent, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. As a Southern fan, I would be worried if you had Robert Superman Kent under center or even in the gun, and he had the wide receiving core that Jackson State has now. Oh yeah, you cooking with Crisco then. But at the end of the day, Jackson State, I don't think they won a SWAC championship in the Black National Championship Celebration Bowl because of Jacobian Morgan. I think they won it in spite of him. And that shows you the supporting cast that he had, with the offensive line play and Herb Mulligan behind him at running back. And, he had a good receiving core last year, and they really didn't do what they could have done because, he ain't no world beat at quarterback, and he got established defense. He done had the kind of last year, really last 2 years, Jackson State had the kind of defense that, Southern had like the real dog day defenses in like the early 90s and like 93, led by Sean Wallace, and like 95, like Jackson State that had that caliber defense. So at the end of the day, Jacobian Morgan is not what moves me when it comes to Jackson State. I think, Coach T.C. Taylor has done an excellent job, like building a roster from top to bottom. And if he was if he's a competent quarterback again this season, then yeah, hey, that could take him a long way. But as a hardcore, diehard member of Jaguar Nation. Like, I'm not moved by Jacoby and Morgan and the vast majority of the quarterbacks in the SWAC, just to be honest and just to keep it a buck. I'm not going to hide it. I'm not going to lie about it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. If Southern's defense could be what it has been the last 2 years, and Jalen Woods can play the way he played in the 2025 Blue versus Gold spring game, and you got Trey Holly and Mike Franklin and Princeton Cahee and Barry Remo and Amari and Duke Asbury. I mean, Southern got 8 running backs. Southern, the defense, I think, gonna be what it's gonna be. I think the only question mark is, somebody like myself has is Southern special teams. Can they get an elite level punt and kick returner the way Jackson State has Travis Terrell Jr.? Can they get, somebody that's comparable to great Southern University punt and kick returners like, Ezra Landry and Willie Quinn? If they can get that, and they can get like a punter that's comparable to like a Matt Bushart, Ruben Beauplants, and a kicker that's comparable to Carlos Leach, Joshua Griffin, man, Southern is a complete team, and I'll take them over anybody in the SWAC. Now, Thursday, I'm going to drop a video that's going to talk about what Southern needs to do to be at their best from an offensive standpoint. But I'm going to just focus on tonight's live stream. And like I said, I'm going to be here for a good time, not for a long time. Let me shout out everybody else that came through. Make a shout out to Johnny Thornton. He says, all love, all love. Much love to your fam. He said, when you get to Atlanta, I will buy you your favorite drink. Hey, that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of on the fence. I think if my school district, if they, because I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna be the most time I got paid in the school district. I've been in the money looking right, but if they give us our first, paycheck like next couple of weeks, oh yeah, I'm definitely headed to Atlanta. But more than likely, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. I'll probably just hang back and catch Atlanta on the back end of the season. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to EA. He said, good evening, coach. It won't be a matter of who at quarterback versus FAMU 0-8 last 8 years. Hey, man, I love the FAMU. Here we go. Autism Boy Cottage 81. I saw he was in the chat early. I don't know if he deleted his messages or what. He said, salute, family. Man, salute to your Autism Boy Cottage 81. He said, salute, Coach 67. Oh, yeah, Autism Boy. And I talked about this at the beginning of the live stream. I'm still having an issue. And that with the computer, I think it's just me, not being good with the wrenches. But I'm going to try to wrench everybody up once I get my brother Jared 11 Green on with me. But I got you, Autism Boy. You ain't even got to ask me. You did. But, getting to the topic at hand for this particular live stream. And I'm not going to lie, this doesn't just apply to Southern. This applies to everybody around the SWAC, and I think just every team in HBCU football in general. We saw what, Deion Sanders coming to Jackson State. Of course, I talked about it on my brother Jared 11 Green channel. If you didn't check out his live stream from Sunday, Southern Baller Show, go check it out. I had my issues with him in terms of the way he left Jackson State and, just trying to, smear dirt on Jackson State, not to a large degree, but to a certain degree. I didn't like the way he left. And, of course, I didn't like the whole Ryan Garcia situation. You got this scumbag piece of trash. You parading him around in your locker room around your players. I wasn't a proponent of that either. But either way the cut go, like him coming to Jackson State the little while he was there, it set Jackson State's program up to do big things, and they have been dominant in the SWAC. However, once he left that next year, FAMU, because of course, Jeremy Musa was a senior, and I'm not going to lie, Jeremy Musa did his thing. And then you got head coach Willie Simmons. At the end of the day, basically, that the fact that Jeremy Musa graduated and Willie Simmons left, he went to Duke. Then, of course, he ended up going to FAU, FIU, one of the Florida programs or whatever. to be a D1 coach, and congratulations to him. I wish him much success. But had Willie Simmons stayed at FAMU, who knows? But even with that being said, like Johnny Thornton said, if it was a fifth year, did so, you can see that TC Taylor has constructed a great roster from top to bottom. I think the only real area of weakness is the quarterback play. So we see what it has done for their program and how, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I think they did dominate last year in the SWAC. However, if Southern dominates, what if Southern dominates the SWAC in 2025? My bold prediction, y'all already know how I'm rocking. I already said Southern is gonna win the SWAC championship. Then they're gonna go in the Celebration Bowl. I'm not gonna lie, HBCU Fanatics, whenever myself and my brother Jared Levin Green on his channel, when we do the next episode, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I think the SWAC versus MEAC challenges, I think that game, man, is gonna also be the Celebration Bowl. So I think that game gonna be the Celebration Bowl too. Of course, it used to be the Heritage Bowl back in the Gap, but now the Celebration Bowl. I think that's gonna be a rematch. But even with that being said, I think any team in 2025 that wins the Black National Championship, win the SWAC or the MEAC and the Celebration Bowl and the Black National Championship, that team has such a competitive edge rolling forward into the next season, and from a recruiting standpoint and from a publicity standpoint and the whole nine, because maybe not across the board in terms of winning the Commissioner's Cup, but just in general, Jackson State is the hot team in the SWAC and in HBCU football. You got to give the devil his due, and you got to give him credit. You know what I'm saying? Now, of course, FAMU fans going to feel like FAMU right on their behind. Southern fans feel like we're going to win it all. PV fans feel like with the wide receiver that some people saying could be like the next Mike Hayes, Go-Lighty, they think he's going to be a dog. He's going to elevate them, even though I'm kind of wondering who's going to get him the ball. It kind of is what it is. But I believe Southern going to get the job done. And not only this year, but for the future, I think it's going to elevate the program. It's going to exalt the program. Of course, Trey Holly, he transferred from LSU to Southern. I don't went into detail talking about this situation, but I'm going to keep it a buck. I think just like this live stream, I don't think Trey Holly is going to be at Southern for a long time, but for a good time. I think if he balls out this particular season, he probably going to try to use this season as a stepping stone back to LSU or as a stepping stone to another PWI Power 5. But whether we talking about Southern, because I believe Southern will get the job done, whether we talking about Southern, whether we talking about Jackson State, FAMU, PV, Alcorn, Grambling, Texas Southern, Alabama State, Alabama A&M, whoever from the SWAC, or even a MEAC team, whether it's Delaware State, whether it's Norfolk State, whether it's North Carolina Central, I think whoever won the Celebration Bowl, I think it's really going to be a real, it's going to set their program up, not just for this season, but for the next season. And I think Jackson State is like a walking, talking, living, breathing testament of that in terms of, what having a dominant season and winning, the SWAC, or the MEAC, and the Celebration Bowl, what it could do for your program. Especially as long as you don't have a lot of graduating seniors on your program, you know what I'm saying, in your program. Man, salute to my brother Jared Levin Green. Like I said earlier, we move HBCU Fanatics to his channel. So, maybe he could put it in the chat, or maybe we'll talk behind the scenes. In the next live stream, I'm going to talk about when he and I are going to have the next episode. Of course, already, EA, man, salute to your fam. Autism Boy College 81. He also was saying, I think 100% Southern can dominate the SWAC itself. In my opinion, I agree with you 100%. I think Southern will. I mean, of course, I think it's going to be a dogfight between them and J State. But, on paper, I think JSU the favorite. But just because you're the favorite on paper, I mean, Man, salute to Clifton Webb. He said, what do you think about the offensive line? Honestly, I think the offensive line is rock solid. You got 4 starters returning, but of course, that left tackle spot is up in the air. Now, some people think, of course, in the NFL, even if you do have 4 returning starters, you don't want to have issues at the left tackle spot. But I don't think the overwhelming issues that Southern can't overcome. Hey, it ain't like they got, if you had somebody like maybe like Kendrick Baptiste coming through that left tackle, I'll go through a whole list of Southern University offensive linemen. In fact, I think that might be my next Southern University top 5 list. But I think Southern University offensive line, I think they're gonna be straight. I think the left tackle spot is up in the air, but outside of that, I think they're gonna be straight. You know what I'm saying? He said, "Man, we led until the last 3:42 of the fourth quarter with stupid play calling in Jackson." He said they won, but not dominant, and Grambling crushed him. Hey, big facts. That is big facts. That's big facts. And of course, that's the ongoing thing. You know what I'm saying? In terms of, when I say dominated in the JSU last year context, of course they didn't beat Grambling. They struggled a little bit with Alabama State. I don't mean dominant from that perspective, but in terms of the headlines and getting all like the high profile transfer, because I'm gonna keep it a buck. Southern got Trey Harley, but truthfully speaking, that's the caliber player that Jackson State has been getting the last couple of years. So you're right. I got to give you, that's definitely, a major point that you made. You know what I'm saying? He said, I don't think SU gonna get the job done as well. He said, I think SU gonna get the job done as well. Man, salute to College Boy Autism One. Man, salute to Blackwater Bayou. He said, salute, coach. Man, salute to your fam. Man, salute. Autism Boy, he was saying in his opinion, he thinks Southern gonna get the job done. I agree with you 100%. He said, what do I think about Southern current quarterback situation? I think the quarterback situation and a quarterback room is the best it has been in the last few years. Of course, Jamari Jones transferred, but we already knew after the end of last season that it is Jalen Woods' job to lose. Jalen Woods is going to be the starting quarterback, and then Cam McCall, they're going to have a package for him. He transferred from Jackson State. I'm not going to lie, Lace Up Podcast brought this up. This was a valid point. Truthfully speaking, for Cam McCoy, it really was a lateral move because he's practically in the same situation he was in last year at Jackson State. So, you know what I'm saying? So, I think he brought up a valid point in that regard, you know what I'm saying? He said, Coach, I would agree with you if this was the early 2000s, but if you win, the big boys come in to get your players, and technically, we are the JUCOs for, P4 program. I'm not going to even lie. EA, you made another phenomenal point because I'm going to keep it real. I talked about how I believe that, Coach T.C. Taylor, he did an excellent job like bringing in like 3-4-star caliber players. And I think Coach Graves did an excellent job from the standpoint of maybe he couldn't get those caliber players. He got some players coming out of high school, but he did a good job like raiding the JUCO ranks. But you're right, like a lot of players hit the portal because right now it's the Wild Wild West. Like, one thing I used to hate about, especially like in the late 90s, early 2000s, like a lot of players, man, salute to the beloved queen, Sister Shawala. Y'all, man, y'all go to her channel and check her out, especially if y'all love the boxing talk. Man, salute to the beloved queen. She said, blessings, chat, man. Salute to your queen. Much love to you, baby. But even with that being said, I used to hate how players were locked in to a program. A coach might have brought them there, and they take a job at a bigger, better program for more money, and they just dip. And that player at that program, and if you were on the 1A or the FBS level, you had to transfer it on to the 1AA or the FCS level to be eligible to play right away. However, a lot of times coaches left players high and dry, but now players have their fleet. You got NIL money first, and then they have the freedom and flexibility to just jump in the portal for whatever reason. At least back then, players really valued like playing. To me, seemed like a lot of these players, they're just bag chasing. And I'm like, bro, like, that's one thing, they pointed out on on Carlos Brown's show. Man, salute to Carlos Brown. He talked about how, they talked about how Kelby Givens, he could have went to a bigger program, but, Southern and just HBCU in general, HBCU football compared to like the big boys, PWI Power Fives, like it's all about like money and this, that, and the third. Whereas in HBCU football is about family, it's about tradition, it's about legacy, and that's the thing about it. He jumped in the portal, but he ended up coming back to Southern because they were saying basically he was saying that it's about family, and not only that, but we're just gonna pretend for a minute. We know Trey Holly transferred from LSU to Southern, but pretend Kelby Givens transferred from Southern to LSU. To keep it a buck, he might go get a bag. And I'm not gonna lie, I honestly fervently believe that Kelby Givens probably could be maybe like a first, second, third round pick in next spring's NFL draft. But even with that being said, if he go to LSU, man, he might not even see the field. But at Southern, guess what? Especially if he have another, I think he done already solidified it, in my personal opinion. But if he have another year like he had last year, man, they're going to remember Kelby Givens 30 years from now at Southern University. And not only at Southern University, but just around the SWAC and HBCU football in general. If he went to LSU, like he'll get a bag, but, and EA said, I will give Southern credit, SU credit. I'm hearing you all giving all athletes cost of attendance. Yeah, and that's one thing they talked about on Carlos Brown's show. Like I said, man, salute to Carlos Brown and, salute to the Jericho Broadcasting Network and HBCU Football Network, HBCU Network. And they talked about that, basically they're going to, Coach Roman Banks said they're going to start with basketball. And not only that, but they're going to go across the board because, one of the first interviews I was supposed to have on this channel was with my guy, Dio Bernard. Of course, he a head coach now in I think the Lake Charles area, the Ritter, like in that area or whatever. And, I remember when he was at Southern or whatever, the reason why, he my people is because my dad and his dad, like, worked at this chemical plant St. James together for like 20-some years or whatever. And I remember, my daddy was a season ticket holder and we went all the games, tailgate parking passes the whole night, and his dad was the same or whatever. And basically, I remember after one game or whatever, my dad was talking to his dad, and he was like, man, he said, man, hey, I'm told my dad I'm gonna get with you with the woo because he said I gotta give Dio money. My dad was like, give Dio money? He was like, I thought he on scholarship. He was like, man, he is on full ride scholarship, but he ain't getting the kind of money that, he should get in terms of like, other fees besides just your tuition and books and that type of thing. Like, you need money to live off, you know what I'm saying? So you bring up a phenomenal point, EA. Like, that's an excellent point from the standpoint of, cost of living and cost of attendance, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have expenses outside of just, room and board, just your books, just, going to Mayberry or Dunn Dining Hall or whatever. Like, you got to live outside of that, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's the thing people don't take into consideration, you know what I'm saying? So, you bring up a valid point. And Autism Boy, Cottage 81, he said, and hopefully Terrence Graves can lead SU Jags to basically lead them to a SWAC championship. In addition to that, a victory in the Celebration Bowl. Man, hopefully, you know what I'm saying? But like I said earlier in the beginning, I'm going to be here for a good time, not for a long time, because I got a professional development in the morning. So, man, I appreciate everybody that came through, everybody that's going to watch this on playback. I'm going to do another live stream tomorrow, and I'm going to have a similar type show in terms of a reaction to Carlos Brown's show, in which offensive coordinator Mark Frederick and defensive coordinator Henry Miller made an appearance on the Carlos Brown show. So that's going to be the live stream for tomorrow. But I appreciate everybody that came through. Motivation to be a millionaire, relax and calm rain. Johnny Thought, man, my family, man. Salute to y'all. Salute to my brother Jared 11 Green. Like I said, go over to his channel. You know, we ran it up this weekend. We had, you know, his first edition of HBCU Fanatics on his show. In terms of, it's gonna be a staple on his show now. In addition to that, Saturday we did another episode of the Black Man's Perspective, talking about restoring the Black nuclear family. And we also had the Southern Baller Show on Sunday. So go over to his channel, check it out. EA, my brother Autism Boy College 81, Clifton Webb. Man, I just appreciate everybody that's been rocking with me. Man, my brother Blackwater Bayou, one of the day one supporters, you dig. Man, everybody coming through, showing love. I appreciate y'all all to the fullest. The beloved sister Queen Shawa Laya, EA, man, I appreciate everybody that came through. Please, I am closing in on 1,000 subscribers. You know what I'm saying? He said, do a HBCU. Oh, yeah. Oh, hey, I'm going to do a reaction to that tier list too. Like, I don't know if y'all checking out the chat. I mean, checking out the upcoming live streams, but I'm going to do a reaction to Carlos Brown tomorrow. And Wednesday, I'm going to do, because everybody been talking about it. You know, I saw Scotty and Perry White talking about it. You know, locking on. I mean, I saw, man, my brother Doc Holliday, HBCU Overdrive. Man, so many people been talking about this, the Blue Bloods HBCU tier list in terms of HBCU football. Man, it's created some interesting dialogue and conversation in these HBCU streets. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. We definitely got to talk about that. But I'm definitely gonna talk about it. You know what I'm saying? In terms of, man, it's been a lot of interesting dialogue and conversation. You know what I'm saying? And definitely go to my sister channel, the beloved Queen Shawa Laya, on her channel. She does excellent boxing content for all my LDBC family members. Go check her out. You have a blessed night too, Queen, and rest well. But yeah, I'm definitely going tomorrow's night's episode, Carlos Brown reaction with Mark Frederick and Henry Miller. Wednesday, I'm gonna talk about the Blue Bloods HBCU football tier list. You know, I'm gonna go rock with my brother Brent Fox. Y'all go check him out on his channel. With his show, It's Just Me, starring Brent Fox. My brother Jared 11 Green on his channel. Like I say, HBCU Fanatics has been officially moved to his channel. Go check out my sister, the beloved Queen Shawa Laya, on her channel. Go check out my brother Cadillac Red on his channel, Supreme Beast Boxing Talk. And go check out my brother 7A Sports TV. Has 2 channels. His primary channel is 7A Sports TV. Go rock with his channel. He should be at like 100K subscribers by now, but of course he having some little issues with YouTube. And his backup channel, the No 304 Show. Man, y'all have a blessed and phenomenal night. Like my sister, the beloved Queen Shawa Laya, says, y'all rest well. Y'all have a blessed night, a blessed day. I'll catch y'all again tomorrow around this time. Peace and blessings. And go Jags, you dig? Go Jags.